Why, hello there. So, I was cruising the LPU Reddit and I found some really good questions over there. I figured I would throw them in a video because if one person's asking a certain question, then I'm sure a whole bunch of other people have that same question. Whose questions did I choose? Well, you're going to have to stick around to find out. Maybe it's one of yours. First up, YALELocks. Sorry for another noob question. Is it me or even low-level YALELocks hard for beginners? It's not just you. YALELocks have pretty decent tolerances, and they can be a pain in the butt for anybody, so don't feel bad. I got a Master Lock 6271 puck lock and got it open after a few minutes. After resetting it and trying to pick it again, I couldn't for the life of me get it open. Today I came home from work for some relaxing and got a good turn on the cylinder, but it wouldn't turn all the way. Got in my lock and found this. Loved all the security pins, but not a fan of breaking a lock I haven't had the chance to film an opening of yet. Alright, so first things first, you didn't break this lock, you just bent a spring. My advice would be chop that spring off and switch it around with the last pin chamber because that one has a longer key pin, and that's probably the best you can do for right now. These locks have unbalanced pin stacks, meaning if you have a very tiny key pin in any of these chambers, you can actually be resting on a spring when you get into a false set. And so you're pushing on the spring and pushing on the spring, and they can get mangled. I did a whole entire video about, I think it's the 570 or the 575, but the same thing applies to this lock. So I'll leave a card for it right here. You can go check it out. Otherwise, get another Master Lock, whatever, and gut it and keep it for parts, or buy some extra springs at like CLK Supplies or somewhere. I'll leave a link to CLK in the description of this video in case you want to buy some extra springs. But you will damage parts in your lock, things will get lost, things will get broken. It's definitely good to have replacements on all these parts because, yeah, shit happens. Do you need to just rake some locks? Still a beginner, obviously, but I have an ABUS 5540 that I cannot seem to set anything more than pin 3. Been vexing me for days. Finally thought I'd try raking and boom. Opened literally faster than I could have fit the key in and turned it. I can repeat this consistently. Does this fall under the choose the right pick for the job kind of thing, or are some locks just more susceptible to raking than others? Yes, some locks are more susceptible to raking than others. It just depends on the lock, the pins that are in the lock, and, you know, the bitting of the key. In fact, what happened with yours is the bitting of the key probably matches very, very closely to the rake profile that you were using, and so that's probably why it's raking open so easily. And also, the ABUS 5540 might have some security pins in there, so you might actually be having a hard time like picking the security pins. So I would just go on lpubelts.com, check to see what's in that lock, and then, you know, that way you can study up if it has some security pins. You can try to watch some videos on how to pick those. Don't forget to like. Dropping a pin question. When I drop a single pin when I overset, does it drop the last pin in the binding order or one of my pins which have been previously set? So when you're trying to let off tension to drop an overset pin, if you let off just the right amount of tension, then the overset pin should be the only pin that falls. Meaning if you've picked any other pins to shear line, they should stay put while only the one that you overset drops down. That's the goal, right? But nothing's ever perfect, and so sometimes just other pins fall. I really wouldn't concern myself with anything like that. Just pick whatever's binding and you'll be good to go. Defective Master Lock number 3. Bought a Master number 3 as my first lock picking lock, but it doesn't seem like all the pins are binding. I only actually have to set pin 3. 1, 2, and 4 don't even need to be touched. Is it normal for not all pins to bind, or is my lock just defective? Welcome to Master Lock. Alright, so that doesn't mean your lock is broken. It's just that only that pin needs picked, or maybe you're accidentally bumping other pins when you go to pick that pin, so you know you're setting them without even realizing it. But either way, it doesn't really matter how many pins actually get picked. As long as you pick the binding pins and your lock pops open, your job is done. Is looking at pin layout cheating? This might be a dumb question, but alas, here we are. Is it cheating to look at the pin scheme for the lock you're picking? For example, I'm working on an American 1100. I am working on it for about an hour and notice there are serrated pins and can feel there are more than just 2 serrations. So I get on Lockpickers United and someone has gutted the lock and shows that I was right. But also there's a spool pin I was having trouble with. It got me thinking, is this cheating? Because I'm assuming you were really studying the lock lock, you would gut it yourself, but the community of pickers did it for me. Thoughts? All right, so a couple thoughts come to mind. First of all, just because someone else gutted their 1100 doesn't mean that yours is going to have that exact same like pin layout. The drivers can be serrated or spool pins, and I'm pretty sure they can be in any chamber. So just because, say, he has a serrated in pin 1, that doesn't mean you'll have a serrated pin in your lock pin 1. So be careful that you're not expecting those pins when you're picking your lock. Also, if you think taking your lock apart and looking at it is cheating, then it's absolutely cheating. If you think it's not cheating, then it's not cheating. It's all up to you and how you learn best. If gutting your lock and looking at the pin interactions and doing all that helps you learn faster, I say go for it. My personal opinion is, if it's the first time you're, facing that type of lock or that type of pin that's in that lock and you're unsure, and after you've worked on it for hours and hours and days and whatever, and you still can't get it, it's perfectly fine to rip it apart, progressively pin it, check the pin interactions, do all that. Should you continue to do that to every lock you pick? No, because then I think it would be cheating. But again, you know what? It doesn't even matter what I think. It matters what you think. Do what you want. It's your lock. It's your journey. And it's not my business or anybody else's. Any advice on American Lock 1100? Okay, this lock is driving me crazy. I've read all the advice on Reddit and watched countless videos on the 1100, but I still can't get it. I finally decided to take it apart and progressively pin it. I did 2 pins, 3 pins, but I just can't get the whole 5. Here's what I've done. I've marked my pick with a Sharpie where the pins are, used super light tension, but I always seem to overset pins, tried going front to back, back to front, bidding order every combination. 1, 2, and 3 are serrated, and 4 and 5 are spools. Tried a whole variety of picks, but I'm set on a multi-pick deep hook, 0.4 millimeters. WTF is up with this lock, man. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. I've been able to pick a few greenbelt locks, but this thing, thank you. There are quite a few things that could still be going on with your lock, and there are a few things I noticed right away. You shouldn't be set on a deep hook unless you definitely have some high set pins that you can't reach with a standard hook. You might actually be oversetting pins by pushing your deep hook through that keyway. Using super light tension, sometimes you have to use heavier tension to set the serrated pins, because heavier tension can help you differentiate between just another serration or the pin actually being set. There's definitely a difference in that feedback, but you're going to need to tighten up the tension to be able to tell probably. Just follow the binding order and go 1 click at a time. The springs in this could be smushed down. I've talked about the springs being smushed. This can be really hard to pick if the springs are kind of squished, and the only way to tell is to gut it and check the springs and kind of pull them apart. And also, this has a super heavy duty spring core. So you might have actually fallen into a false set a couple of different times and thought that you were just stuck in a false set and there was nothing else going on, but your lock might have actually been open and you just weren't pushing hard enough on that tensioner to turn the core and pop the shackle. Also, if you're still having trouble with this particular American 1100, get a new one and try a different one. Sometimes you just get a really hard lock that's basically impossible for you to open for whatever reason. So just trying a different one can sometimes help you to figure it out. And if all else fails, just skip it and come back to it later. You can learn a whole lot from a bunch of other locks and then come back to this one and it won't be tough for you at all. Just don't get stuck on one lock. All right, that's why we have naughty buckets. Is this a permanent addiction? Once I run out of locks or specific pins to pick, does it ever stop? No, it never stops. Best cheap beginner locks under 10 pounds, generally in the range of yellow, orange belt, but I wouldn't mind the challenge of a green with serrated spool pins. I usually only buy on eBay and am already getting an ABUS 6540. If you're looking for some really cool Locksport gear, including different types of locks for a good price, check out this next video and I will see you on the next one. Subscribe.